Well, good morning. Hopefully this is the last couple of weeks that we need to be using the tarp. I'm looking forward to retiring it for the season, looking forward to fall coming on and being able to work in nicer weather. But this week we're going to completely finish up the outdoor kitchen, including the countertops, the walls, building out some wooden shelves, a few other things. We got to get it all nice and working and finished because in 5 days we have a barbecue with friends over. I need this done. So the goal is that this will end up being the final top coat, super fine, super smooth top coat that I can then epoxy over top of. The concrete that we poured, what was it, 2 weeks ago, was filled with lots of large aggregate. This is with a super fine sand, which should allow me to get a much smoother finish. And I'm realizing that I made like 5 times more than I should have. So this probably comes as no surprise, but this is not a how-to video. This is a what I'm doing video. I have no idea if this is going to work or not. I've just made up a probably too sloppy of a mix of 1 part lime, 1 part Portland cement, and 2 parts super fine washed sand to basically make kind of my own little DIY micro cement mixture. It definitely added too much water. But this base layer of the countertop is thirsty enough that it's going to soak that moisture out really fast. And it might even be a good idea that I added too much water. Again, I don't know because I'm not a professional. I'm just doing an experiment to see if this works.
Wow, it's looking good.
Thank you.
Breakfast is ready whenever you want it. So this is definitely a very messy process. I have always wanted a concrete countertop. I've seen them in houses and I thought that is just so cool. I would love to have that. But I think this is the perfect place to try it out first before we ever do it somewhere else, like in a kitchen, because, you know, it's outside. It can be a little bit more rustic, and I love how this is coming together.
So I heard John Newby say in one of his recent videos that it takes a certain level of bravery to do something like this on camera, where you have no clue if it's going to work out. I've never seen anyone try this technique for a countertop. It just seemed to make sense in my mind, so this is a total experiment. I wouldn't call it bravery. I'd call it stupidity. It does take a certain level of stupidity to run such a large experiment on your beautiful home without any experience and without any precedence for something like this actually working. It's the same concept that you do for walls, so why can't you do it for a countertop? I think I'm going to have to do 2 coats because there's a good bit of large aggregate sticking up, so where I scrape over it, makes a nasty mark in the, like that, a nasty mark in the concrete. I wouldn't mind if it had some of that rustic texture. It kind of looks like a natural stone that way. There's even some variation in color because the 3 ingredients of the white lime, the gray Portland cement, and the black colorant didn't fully mix together. So there's some color variant and specks of color, and I think in the end, it's all going to kind of come together and look decent.
I think it looks amazing. I like the imperfections.
See, but that bubbling is causing it not to adhere very well. And I'm worried that long term it's going to flake. But it's an experiment.
Yep.
Alright, so moving on to the next experiment that I have no idea if it's going to work. This is obviously the barbecue area. My original idea for how we were going to elevate off the grate at different levels of cooking, well, it didn't really work. Ah, no! That's not what you want. It kind of all fell apart, so now I'm trying something new. I went and I bought these pretty thin refractory bricks. And I'm going to attempt to glue them into place like so. And then leave a gap between the next row. And have that be the way that we can slot in the grate. Don't exactly like the way they look with the color and everything. But I figure I give it some time and they're going to char up. And if not, I can fake char them with some of that colorant. But even if I don't like how they look, I need it to be practical. I need to have a way to be able to raise the grate up and to have it work. Ah, it's the wrong side. Well, you guys know that I've been a huge fan of AG1 for a very long time, and that's been a part of my morning routine for well over 2 years. But now they're making a brand new product called AGZ that's going to become part of my nighttime routine as it helps support better quality sleep. AGZ is a nightly drink to help support restful and restorative sleep with clinically studied ingredients including adaptogens, herbs, and minerals. Each serving of AGZ delivers 250 milligrams of highly bioavailable magnesium, over half of your daily intake, as well as saffron and a bunch of other herbs and minerals. Oftentimes, Heather and I have trouble winding down and preparing for sleep after a chaotic day, but now that's where AGZ comes in as it helps your body naturally wind down and prepare for restorative sleep. AGZ is a melatonin-free formula that helps support your body's natural sleep cycle. There's also no sugar or artificial sweeteners or gluten or dairy. Most products out there that help you sleep just focus on a cheap hit of melatonin, but AGZ has a complex blend of vitamins and minerals and adaptogens and antioxidants and calming herbs. There are 3 different flavors: chocolate, chocolate mint, mixed berry. My personal favorite is the chocolate mint. I like to mix it with warm almond milk for a nighttime drink, but you can also do the mixed berry over ice. There's a variety of ways of drinking it, but however you drink it, you're going to support natural sleep. Obviously, good quality sleep determines everything in life and how good your day is, so anything that can help it, I am all for it. So if you're ready to turn down the stress and tune into the rest, then head to the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen now for a free frother with your first purchase of AGZ. Thank you so much to AGZ for sponsoring today's video. All right, so I'm about to find out if this whole second coat idea is a good idea or a bad idea. I want to put on a second coat before things start to really fully set up, because it seems like it'll hear better. But I don't know. It's an experiment. There were granulars in the first coat as it kind of worked up the base layer, the concrete countertop that is. I just couldn't get a good finish. And that first layer locked that in, prevented it from moving around. And now, hopefully, I can spread a much thinner layer over top of it. This is still from the same mix, so the color is still spot on. I've just been keeping that covered, and then I remixed it up. And it seems like it was the right decision. I've got no granulars, a much thinner coat. I should be able to polish this coat quite nicely. Super pleased with this. I know I can't really show texture on camera that much, but it's as polished as it possibly can be. I'm curious to see where the color lands, but we won't know that for a couple of days, and then until after I put this sealer down, which is a wet look, which will make it kind of a medium to deep gray is what I'm hoping for, but we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. But for now, I need to run to town to pick up all of the plumbing supplies to get this outdoor kitchen hooked up tomorrow morning. So for now, we'll pick up tomorrow morning. Well, good morning. Today I'm pretending to be a plumber and seeing if I can't get this kitchen hooked up. I've never done anything like this before. It's my first time using putty and, what do you call it, hemp and putty. I've used Teflon tape before. You're not allowed to use that here, or I don't know if you're not allowed to use that or if it's just not used. I've been told it fails far too easily. The hemp and putty works better because if there is a leak, the hemp absorbs the water and then expands, and then in combination with the putty fills the void and stops the leak. In theory, at least that's what I've been told. This contraption that I'm making, however, is a little bit unique and odd. because this is obviously an outdoor kitchen and we do experience freezing weather here, a lot less than you'd expect. We tend not to get too many nights below freezing, but it does happen. So I want the ability to drain the entire system quite easily. So the thought here is this is what comes out of the box, connects to the main water line. This is our shut off so that in the winter we can shut it off. And then if I open the tap up top, I can then open this, which will allow all of water to completely drain out and leave everything, just to make sure that nothing freezes. So it's a little bit confusing here, but here is the main water line that comes in. Here, there is the main shutoff behind this shutoff, which is the drain for winter time. Then we split off. One runs to the sink, another runs to a garden hose, and then the one that runs to the sink then splits off again because we're only dealing with cold water here. And then I split it to run into the hot and cold side of the faucet, which will live right here so that you have pressure on both sides. And then this guy I need to fit for a garden hose that should live on this side of the wall here. So originally I was thinking that I was going to do another coat over top of the walls, but considering how smooth they are and the fact that the first coat is already cured, I don't think a second coat would adhere. I didn't do a scratch coat or anything. I think it would eventually just peel off. So instead I've made a lime wash with basically just 50% lime and 50% water. And I'm going to do somewhat heavy lime wash paint over top of it. I just want the cement blocks behind it to disappear. And right now, the coat that I've done is a little bit translucent as it wasn't thick enough. So I'm hoping this lime wash paint will take care of it. pretty. Man, these wood shelves turned out so much better than I expected. This is walnut with a linseed oil, and I left them really, really chunky for the fronts to have a nice beefy look. I've just kind of temporarily set in the cooktop here just to get the general full view of what it's going to look like when it's finished. And very, very pleased with how these shelves have turned out. There we go. That was a fun little project out of some scrap walnut. The linseed oil would make the color pop a lot more, but I'm not entirely sure if our linseed oil is food safe, so I thought I'd play it safe and just use olive oil, and I can always restain it in the future if I need to. But I believe the top coat has finally cured enough, so it's time to put on the epoxy. So annoying, but I wanted to take this thing off, and it sliced a part of my finger off, borderline needing stitches, and I wear gloves for everything, but you wouldn't expect needing them to take off this guy right here. The edges of the metal were so sharp. It's a bit idiotic. So this is my first time using epoxy. Never epoxied anything before in my life. And to start on something so big, definitely has me a little bit nervous. It's kind of been the theme of this entire project, just trying new things, learning new skills, spending a lot of time every night and morning watching YouTube videos. So don't worry, I did watch a YouTube video. Made me feel at least moderately confident. So far, I'm pretty pleased with how easy it is to pour on. There doesn't seem to be too many bubbles. Definitely seems to be self-leveling, but I think I'm gonna run out. I think I'm gonna be just like ever so shy, maybe like 2 square feet shy. Well, I'd say I'm super pleased with how that turned out. It's got a really nice, glossy, glassy finish to it. No air bubbles whatsoever, which I was nervous about since I poured it so soon after the top coat. What I am getting is little voids here and there. So I go back and I try to like put a little drop of epoxy over top of that void. Other than that, and the small little corner that I missed, I'm very pleased. This corner right here, that's how much short I was on material, so I'll have to go buy some more epoxy just to get that finished up. But overall, very pleased. I love the discoloration between the darker blacks to the medium grays and all of the texture that is put into it. Now the trick is to keep all of the bugs off of it, at least for the next 5 or 6 hours, or if something lands in it, pull it out carefully. Not exactly sure how that's gonna go, but we'll check in tomorrow morning once it's dry. Give it a try. Cool. Guess we need a sink now. Loves. So we were supposed to have the barbecue today, but obviously not exactly the right weather for it. But it gives me a little extra time to finish up here. All right, so finally the outdoor kitchen is complete and I couldn't be more thrilled. We actually had a barbecue last night with our friends. We actually fired up both the big chimney as well as this outdoor barbecue area. We cooked chicken, steak, all kinds of veggies. I could not be more pleased with it. The stovetop works. We've got gas out here. We've got water. There's still a few things. Mostly we need to get the sink fitted in place. We're going to carve that out of stone. So that's going to be pretty cool. We're going to make a door for this access panel underneath here out of one of the old doors from the barn, or the old house rather. And that's about it. Very, very pleased to have this all finished up, or mostly finished up. Excited to get back to cooking coffee outside. But that is it for this week. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.